Deadlifting mistakes. Oh, deadlifts are hard. Deadlifts are something that many people mess up on and or struggle with because they're a complex movement, and the main area that tends to fail or tends to not be as strong is your core. And that's the area that we need to be strong in your deadlift. So let's go over these three mistakes and how you can change them so you can deadlift better, not hurt yourself, and feel strong while doing it. The first one. The first one is we all know we need to keep our back flat whenever we do the deadlift. Well, what is flat? Many people I see, they actually go the opposite way. If they know they need to keep their back flat, then they either stripper booty or hyperextend their low back, or they just don't realize that they're not flat at all and they round their low back because they're trying to get too low with their body mechanics to reach the floor to pick the weight up without bending their knees as much. This leads into more stress and strain on the back, whether you are hyperextended or whether you are actually flexed in your low back. Both of these cause issues when it comes to low back stress. Because as we think about a low back, as we think about your spine in general, think about a slinky. This slinky, as it bends, it's not as strong whenever it's flexed one way or flexed the other way. Whenever it's stacked, then it's strong. It's harder to bend it, it's hard to mess it up. But if you move it one way, then you can bend a ring or two. It's much easier to damage that way. Same thing goes for your actual spine. If we keep it in a nice straight position where its natural curves are, where it's made to be mechanically, anatomically, then it is strongest there. The muscles are at their optimal length to be the strongest at holding the spine and supporting the actual bones there. And so that's where we want to be. One of the ways to actually go back a step and figure out whether you are stripper booting or if you are flexing is to just hold a broomstick or PVC pipe up to your back. Do the actual deadlift holding this rod to your spine and see if your butt moves. That means you're hyperextending it. If it kind of wiggles on the bottom part of the broomstick, or if the broomstick wants to come up off of your butt, that means that you are flexing your body and flexing your spine. Both of these come into play and can be fixed with just the awareness that this is happening. And then you strengthen up from that. It may mean that you need to go back in your weights a little bit as you're doing your deadlift. It's fine. It'll probably make you feel even better because you're actually doing it correctly and you're able to engage the full core. Doing a little teeny little tail tuck as you are engaging, especially at the bottom before you're about to pick the weight up, it will help a lot for your engagement of your core. And I'm not talking like flat back rounding, because obviously we don't want you to have a flexed low back, but we do want you to have your core engaged and have it bracing as you're doing the deadlift. Number two comes into squatting your deadlift. Many people, as they're going to pick up the weight, they don't leave their butt up enough. They don't bend their knees enough to help them get this nice deadlift hip hinge movement pattern to initially start the lift. You're not pushing the ground away enough, and you're not giving yourself that ability to deadlift it. Your chest is more vertical instead of horizontal, and you will end up squatting your deadlift. This is not ideal because we're using more of our quads than our posterior chain, our glutes, hammies, and back, and we are not gaining what we need to do from this actual exercise. We're also not going to be able to lift as much in this. We want to be able to deadlift, which means that as you're doing your setup before the lift, butt is tall, knees are bent a little bit, and your chest is more horizontal than it is vertical. Then as you begin the pull, or the push, I would say, you push the ground away and you straighten your knees first, and then you bring your hips up and forward. This allows you to load your hip hinge the most and also get a great knee workout or quad workout at the bottom of the range. Then as you come back down, you hip hinge first, and then you bend your knees to lower the weight to the ground. We're not keeping your chest vertical. We're not trying to use your quads during the entire part of the lift. Number three comes into your upper back. And most people forget about their upper back because they're so concerned about the other two things that I just talked about going on in their legs and their hips and their low back. Well, your upper back matters a whole lot as well because it's part of your core. As we think about engaging your upper back, that is what's going to be like kind of the cherry on top for you to keep your back straight and for you to do the hip hinge loaded as much as possible to get the most benefit possible. What we mean by that is that as you're going down to start your lift, you are engaging your lats. You're bringing your shoulders away from your ears and almost thinking about, some people think about like putting their shoulder blades in their back pocket. Some people think about breaking the bar, that you're actually like breaking the bar this way. That, as you can see, that tucks my elbows in and it makes me more likely to engage and be solid through my upper back with my lats and my shoulder blade muscles helping me. These guys helping me. And so as we go down into that position, this also means that we want to bring our hands more close to our body as we're holding the weight. If you have issues with doing this, sometimes you can add a band to help you. And that's where the band attaches in front of you and you're all pulling that band down as you are holding your weight to help you with engaging those lats, because otherwise then the band's not going to have any tension on it and it's going to go forward with you. And so pulling that weight down away from its anchor point helps you to engage those lats as you're actually doing the deadlift. I hope this was super helpful for you. I hope that you are going to be able to do your deadlift better now, feel stronger in it, and also enjoy the deadlift because it's a fantastic exercise that gets a whole lot of rap for damaging, injuring, and being the problem child, which actually is one of the best exercises to help you with hiking, mountain biking, skiing, snowboarding, so many things. And it gets you actually, if you're doing it right, keeps you out of the PT department instead of in the PT department. Cheers, y'all.